Yo, what's good? Day 19. Stream looks excellent. We are at 6,000 kilobits per second on bit rate. So it looks like we're doing pretty good today. All right. So day 19, guys, we're just going to jump right into it. We're working on viral.com, a digital service agent for building resources on the internet, connecting to applications and different things that help your business run more organized. Okay, so we've been doing a couple of things, guys. We talked about it on the last stream. We're trying to improve the onboarding experience. Now, there are two parts to this. It's sort of splitting into a pie of two halves. We've got our iOS app, right? That is the first half of this. We've also got our mobile browser application, right? So you'll notice it's quite similar. They pretty much look like the same thing. The experience is supposed to be the same thing, right? So I'm just going to give you a side by side. Of course, we're trying to enhance the mobile experience on the application level. So you'll notice some subtle differences between how the different UI elements kind of pop, right? There's still some things we have to, of course, polish when it comes to the iOS app. You'll notice there's some slight differences in the data flow. But I'm going to continue to give you a side-by-side look at what kind of that looks like, right? So quite similar. There's not a ton of differences. It's supposed to function the same way. The only difference is depending on what device you have, right? So we're thinking about different types of devices, different types of surfacing to the product, right? So one big thing you'll notice is it's probably easy to get someone from the internet to just use a mobile browser app, right? Like if I go on viral.com from Instagram or Facebook, it just pops up a browser, right? Like I just continue like nothing happened. But if you want someone to get an app, they have to download the app first. They have to adopt it into their workflow. But the part where the iOS app comes in, guys, is once you've built this product or service to be at the point where it's a part of someone's daily habits, right? Like they just use it to collect signals about their business, right? Like a lot of people have many different like options of things that they use. Some people use one tool. Other people use multiple different tools for different things depending on what they're doing. All right. So the iOS app being inside a person's device allows you to do things with notification, which gets really interesting because you can build it into their lifestyle, right? And routine of work. When they wake up in the morning, maybe they're checking this app for updates, right? So that's kind of how that works. Making it easier for people to manage the day-to-day workflow and surfacing it at a point where they can easily access it, right? So gonna stop there. So that is the two halves of the pie in which we're going to be approaching this problem. Another thing that we're going to be doing, guys, is we need to do a deep dive on the iOS App Store. So I was looking at the reviews of these website builder applications, right? So these are folks that already have website solutions. Let me see if I can open the app here, guys. Okay, boom. So we're just gonna search website, right? Like, so let's say you're on your iPhone and you're just like, I need to build a website. And the first thing you search is just website on iOS store. You know, you're looking for an app on your phone that can do this, right? So this is sort of your experience, right? But instead on your phone, maybe your laptop. So let's say, okay, so this one looks kind of close to, you know, what we're doing. Universe website builder. You'll notice like they allow you to make different changes to your website, right? Instant custom domain. These are things that we kind of have talked about. Online store and payments. So this is one thing we haven't talked about yet, guys. Let me take one good look at the stream. Okay, it looks like we're doing pretty good. I like to make sure in between because sometimes the stream just walks off on its own, but it doesn't look like it's doing that today, guys. So, okay, we're chilling. Okay, so here we've got a full-on commercial application, right? So like a person can do commerce. They've built a solution where you can jump on and do commerce on this platform, kind of like Shopify, whatever, Depop. There are so many applications where people are trying to connect to new marketplaces, right? Build trust in the community. So just because there's one application doesn't mean like that's the only ecosystem that exists. There's a reason a lot of people build similar applications or similar economies, is because it creates opportunity for new participants in the market to be successful. That's why people create new ecosystems, right? Because if you try to jump into ecosystems that already exist sometimes that are already too big, then you just can't really fit into the dynamics of the market. That's why it's very important to create new markets, right? That's why new ideas always grow, because it creates new opportunity and wealth for the community, the new community that's building that, right? So anyways, guys, so online store and payments, branded email and newsletters. I think newsletters is something that was super important to one of my previous clients. She had us put on her website, right? So she had us put a newsletter on her, like a link to a newsletter on her website. So we worked with a venue, and I believe somewhere around the bottom is where we have the newsletter, right? So subscribe to our newsletter. That's big. I think email is definitely huge, guys. Collecting people's emails, because it allows you to have some type of rapport you can build with folks. And that's why we think very extensively about the inbox here. I mean, the context of the inbox is supposed to be a universal sort of chain of interaction with your customers. So you can text them or email them through a similar thread, and you can keep consistent track of the communication that's going out and coming back to you, between you and a customer, and potentially using help to draft those messages. That's kind of a concept. But newsletters are important. We're going to go back here. So one thing is commerce, guys. So that's one thing I've been thinking a lot about. So people are trying to sell products or services depending on what's happening in their business, or what things they're testing and trying, and how they're trying to build a community. So the context here is trying to understand better, and create a framework where people can build their own offers for their website. So imagine you sort of have this landing page out for people in your community to interact with and book an event with you, or book a coaching session with you, right? And you have this thing where people can just go there and find out more details about you. So that's the first way that people basically learn about you today, is like reading something about you online, right? And this is your own brochure that they read about you online, right? So, but they're a lot of different ways. I know my camera is acting up. That comes in a lot of different ways. Okay, that's supposed to do something. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this one more time. Okay, they've patched my glitch. We're just gonna fit the screen. Think I've got to make a couple changes here. Forgot what it was. Okay, we got it. Took a second there, but my camera just likes to play games with me sometimes, but that's fine. Completely fine. Okay, so the idea is to surface the pricing system on your website. So let's say you have a bunch of different offers with different pricing points. and you want folks to check out from your store, it creates an experience where your clients, customers could check out. Currently, we have more of a booking flow. So I'll show you kind of what that looks like here. I mean, with one of our old clients too, it's like pretty similar, right? So she's a venue, and if you're booking an event with her, you just kind of go here and you fill out a form and you submit the request, and it goes to her system, right? It goes, straight to her, and she has some systems automated to help her do stuff. But here, guys, right? So right now it's this is more service driven, right? So if you're a service, you want to collect the person's information, you want to collect potentially a deposit, and a schedule for the appointment, right? Like you want to make sure their event doesn't conflict with your own calendar or your team's calendar, whatever the case may be. And you don't want to do this manually every single time. It doesn't make any sense when the information potentially could already be available and decisions could be made, or at least helping you make decisions, right? So you getting an update saying, hey, this person's interested, but it's not available, right? So you don't have to go breeze through the calendar and figure it out. And this is part of trying to figure out what a workflow looks like. Yo, this coffee is pretty good. I made a not so bad one today. Got some cocoa powder in there as well, so it's a little bit of a hybrid. Okay. So my point here, guys, with checking out these external options is wanting to learn a little bit more about the community here, and how folks are experiencing the product. So now I've kind of had a good sense of what they do, what they're trying to solve. This is to help me figure out where are the opportunities to make the experience better for folks. I did take a look at some reviews on my phone, but I wanted to show you guys on here as well, but it doesn't look like there's a filter. So that's fine. I'll just point out a couple, right? Like I think these are things to just think about, both the good and bad. I don't just want to show the bad ones, but the bad ones kind of give me an idea of, what are some pain points people are having still. So this is something that someone loves about it, right? And this is something that someone doesn't like about it, right? So you can get a perspective of both sides and try to build things that help the people that are still stuck, help them get to where these folks are at. They figured it out. So these guys need some help to figure it out. And that's the goal, is to try to build something that is slightly easy to communicate with. That's why my emphasis, guys, is on the AI chat experience, because I kind of want to simplify it into natural language as much as possible. The only complexity is building an experience where a person can see what's happening in the system as they're communicating with a AI, whatever the case may be. Because I think there's still an idea of the AI is pretty random, so you don't really know what it's going to do exactly. You think it's going to solve the right problem, but it also depends on what guardrails you set up for the AI, because it's pretty random, right? Like it's not like the most intelligent thing. You have to really guide it. So one thing that I thought was really interesting was this experience, the AI chat website building preview experience. So like, if potentially we could change the title, right? Like change the title of the hero to Let's Win Love. The idea here is, can I simplify the experience well enough? Okay, so there's always still going to be like things that don't go quite as I would want them to. And that also makes me want to check. Okay, this could be the very broken one. Let's see if I can get a different account. Let's see if I can get a different account. Okay. All right, let's try this guy here. Okay, so we're gonna be in AI chat. I'm gonna try change the business name to Mikey Willie. Okay. All right, so we're gonna try to update the business name to Mikey Willie. So it seems like this chat experience might have picked it up. I'm gonna try to apply it. Okay, it doesn't look like it's going to let me apply it. So okay. So of course we still got bugs, but it does pick up some stuff. Let me see if I can get the tagline changed. Adjust my tagline to winners win when they feel love. Okay. Let's see if we can get it to change the tagline. It's picking it up, but it's not applying it. Okay. So I got to bug smash like literally the entire application myself, which is sometimes a lot, sometimes a good amount to play around with. Because like you'll notice, like even on both of the versions, there's a lot of gaps between what the experience looks like on the app version versus the mobile browser version. I almost like I'm getting close to a point where I should pick a path, but I do want to prioritize the browser version of the app. So I think it might be better to just prioritize that right now, especially when it comes down to nailing the editing experience, as opposed to building side by side, trying to catch this up. I think visualizing it now, the iOS app is very good because it helps me paint the picture of kind of where this could get to, especially when it does start to get embedded. But a huge piece of homework that I got to do before I jump too far into the iOS app is this experience that we're looking at right now. Like the experience people love so far and the experience people don't love so far. I'm getting a better idea of what that feels and looks like, right? Like, is this fun for people? Is this kind of what you want to do? Or would you prefer something a little bit different, right? That's the question. But the management experience, the commerce experience, I think those are pretty staple points. That might be the easy part. The hard part is the experience. So I'm going to take a look at a couple of these actually. Let's see. Right, so just looking at these are doing pretty well too. Experience quite so well. But they happen to have a lot of people using them. So I'm sure there are a lot of things they can improve. Yeah. These folks look like they're doing pretty well. You'll notice like the colors, if you like pay attention to like the details of design on the promotion, right? You could just tell like who's at what level based on these, right? You could tell this is like insane. They even got a video. They got like really cool, nice, calm looking edits and designs. This just looks a little bit disorganized and all over the place. I can't see any good looking websites really, or even like designs. But this looks very calm, very eye pleasing. This looks very professional, very functional. right? Okay. So yeah, those are just a couple pieces of details when it comes to that experience. I have been spending a good amount of time on the, I would call it, media editing software. It's been interesting to experiment on YouTube and a little bit on TikTok, creating content people do engage with and trying to advertise with that content. I think there's an interesting observation that I've seen, which is it's very hard to not to actively do advertising, especially in these platforms, because it's a little bit outside the nature of what the person's doing at that point in time. So it's very not likely that they would visit the website, right, or whatever it is that's being sold, especially if the website is very complicated to get to. So we have not cracked that eggshell yet when it comes to reducing customer acquisition cost, doing advertising. Now, where it becomes interesting, I think, is on if you build these platforms, if you build audiences on these platforms long enough to where there is retention and there is some, I want to say, trust or identity ties, question mark, to that group, or something just got in my eye. Okay. So to that group where a person feels like they're a part of the community in some way, then I think that's a point where there's enough trust to an audience clicking links or going to an external thing to be more engaged, right? So we haven't seen anything trickling from the ads. To be fair, our ad spends like, I want to say $5 a day, which is quite some. I think in the future, something that would be interesting to explore is once we get some sense of validating the content pieces side of things and generating traffic, we can explore more UGC creator type of things where real people are creating more content, or just like being more creative with the ways that they go about trying to organize and reach communities. So that's kind of the way, the current thought process. I think this spoke to a lot of people is my initial test. So I got to do more research on, like the wording, the placements, just the simplicity of this advertising. Because if I show you the stat, it's quite interesting. It's a little bit eye-opening for me. I think I've been running it since here, so like 2 weeks now, probably. Okay, so we've got from 2 weeks of testing, 71. Let me like triple check, make sure I haven't been running for 3 weeks. Okay, I've been running for 2 weeks. Safe to say that. I'm actually curious. When did I start running this ad? 25th. Looks like the same data. 26th. Okay. So it looks like the 25th, but it could be the 24th. Okay, the 25th. So like close to 2 weeks. So we've got 71 page views from those 2 weeks from one ad of the 3 that we tested. And you'll notice it costs roughly 59 cents to get a person to look at the page, which is quite high, but not super high, not super concerning at this stage. The cost per click was 24 cents. So that is a little bit strange to see how like that changes, because it doesn't really make too much sense why a person clicked, but I guess they didn't get to the page, which is weird if you really think about it. So maybe it's loading, maybe something's the issue there, not sure, but I don't think so. It might just be some flux in Facebook's data. 175 clicks. Clicks could mean anything. Linked clicks 186. But that's not consistent with what we're seeing on the landing page views. Okay, but we've got 5 registrations from that period of time, with roughly across all the advertising. I want to say $60 spent on advertising for 5 registrations. No subscriber yet to the product, but that doesn't quite concern me right now. I more so just want to learn about the different types of businesses that are going to be coming through, the different types of things they want to do with the website, like why they're trying to use the website in the first place. So that's one thing, learning a lot more about that workflow and fitting into the bigger picture, right? So that's kind of the approach right now that we're going to be taking. So we're going to focus on doing those things, take a step back, work more on the product, especially when it comes to the browser version of the app, and think about what the editing experience looks like. Another thing I want to play around with later, not right now, obviously, is getting a business formalized. I think that's one thing that's a little bit tricky. There are some solutions out there, LegalZoom, etc., that help you try to solve this problem. But I wonder if there's a more modern way to go about doing that. I think it's pretty tedious. To some states are doing really good with going online and having things where you can submit online, creating documents, filing, which makes sense. Like, we're in 2026. It'll be nice to see more of that process being formalized and organized in a way that's a lot easier for people to manage. And also to use for verifying stuff. Like, for example, if you want to verify your company for a phone line, sometimes you need to provide documentation. Like, if you're as a developer, at least, with like connecting API services, for example, sometimes we need to verify with these documents. So I wonder if it's the same for any of other businesses out there, if there are a ton of you just don't have it handy because you got to go find it. But I wonder if that's something we could address, getting started, but also keeping track of it. Of course, domains have been an headache for a while. I think managing one, like if you want to do anything with your website, you feel like you might lose it because you gotta like move it around, you gotta change stuff, and it's all confusing. So thinking about that direction, but also banks. That's kind of where it boils down to having a good banking system for debit, credit, and also investments. So thinking about that, there are a ton of solutions and tools that already exist to help you manage like the business banking and just being connected to resources, right? So those are things that I'm thinking about experiments-wise. I'm not married to any of those ideas. I think right now, at the very least, my focus is going to be on the website editing experience, especially for the mobile browser version. And then we get to a pretty solid, confident state that we're like, oh, okay, like we've tested everything looks pretty good, right? Like, oh, like a user can go in here today and I feel confident that the person will potentially go ahead, click here and click start, right? Either trial or a real plan. I actually thought about these plans. These plans are very loose right now. I have not validated, I have validated this price point and these 2 price points in the past as being we got it back. We got it back. Okay, we got it back. We got it back. Camera's back, potentially. Okay, not on OBS though. We're gonna figure it out. That's real interesting. Have they figured me out? Let's try that again. Cool. Okay. So I guess sometimes it gets buggy. That is the way sometimes. Okay. So now, these price points have been sort of validated. So I don't think I should be stressed about revalidating or changing it right now, at least. We need more traffic to see how people respond to it first, right? But right now, yeah, the core focus is going to be on that. One more thing I did want to show is we do have the phone line up and running. So I'm gonna do a day 19 test, right? So I'm gonna send a text less than a minute ago. I'm gonna see on my phone. So I just texted guys day 19 to myself, right? And here it says day 19 test. Of course, it says sent from your Twilio trial account, that's just the way it's set up. So I'm gonna text back on my phone right here and say, cookies are amazing, man. I'm gonna say cookies are amazing, man. And you're gonna see on this chat, we're gonna get a message that says that. It's possible that it never comes. Okay. That's also a possibility. Let's see. Let's see if we could catch it. Catch it in the act. Okay, it still looks kind of stuck. Okay, it looks like it sent the message. Inbound. Oh. That's sort of weird. There it is. That took quite a second, and I had to refresh the page. Well, that was slightly weird, but it does show cookies are here. Okay, I'm going to try. Go faster. Let me see if I can get it to respond. I'm going to check the logs here. See if I can get it to play. Okay, inbound, found somebody. Okay, it looks like we might have to just do a refresh. That might be the thing. Yeah. Okay. So we got to fix that because we shouldn't need to refresh. It will just pop up. But anyways, you just see a point of what that looks like, right? Just texting myself on a browser. But anyway, that's just one piece of the puzzle, making sure like you have communication lines set up and can interact with. All right, so what we're going to do here, guys, is we're going to take a break. We're going to put together a course of action for taking on the website building experience. So we're going to try to polish a lot more what this looks like. So change hero title to winners win let's love, right? It looks like it did it eventually, but that took too long. And then this one's like trying to go back to where love happens, which is fine, right? Like we just did that and it changed. Change, let's say like hero image, please. Let's see if we can get it to respond to that. It might be stuck again on the title. Yeah, so this chat is pretty cooked. I gotta use test 3. Test 2 account has been destroyed. I think something's really bad with the chat history with test 2. when we first adopted it. So when is when they feel love. You can see that here. We're going to change. So it seems like it might be responding-ish now. When is when they feel love. Change hero image. Let's see how it responds to that. Okay. It looks like it just gets kind of stuck on random stuff, which is strange. Okay. What about the hero image? Question mark. I like the tagline. I want to change the image. Do you understand me? Right? I'm gonna push it a little bit, see like where it's at mentally. Okay, it doesn't quite understand. It's just kind of blurting stuff at me. It's kind of like speaking at me as opposed to speaking to me. All right, let's update your tagline now. I didn't want to update my tagline. Okay, it just kind of looks stuck. I'm gonna try one thing. Let's see test account number 4. I want to see how the different accounts respond to this issue. If it's the same all around, then it tells me something. My hero image. Let's see. Where is this guy at? Okay, so this one's kind of responding to my image ask. I see you have an empty gallery at the moment. Let's do teamwork. So let's see. It says my gallery is empty, but I see images there. I see some images in gallery already. Are there others? Okay. So it looks like the website there already has some images. Okay, it looks like it says it's searching for images. Okay, cool. It changed the hero image. Interesting. Okay, change my website title to winner. I don't know why I'm obsessed with winning. Okay, we're gonna change the title to winner. Okay. Options from the stock library instead. List your teamwork and find some. Okay, it's stuck there again. It wants to do winner. Okay, change my gallery section images, please. This camera is so cooked. It just keeps glitching. I think it might be my laptop connection. No problemo. All right, so it looks kind of stuck here too. It just kind of gives up at some point. So I think here, I mean, there's still the human element of editing that we have here, where you can just go type stuff in. And this is one more thing we have to kind of think about. How do we simplify? Because it's, well, one, it has to load, for one, and then for two, for one, it has to load, and then for two, it should be a more concise experience. I wonder what is happening there. Because it's not supported type. Is this buggy? Is this bugging us out? Is this bugging us out? So I want to analyze test 5. Let's see. I think I've got accounts up to test 6. maybe test 6. Okay, I guess there's no test 5, there's only a test 6. Okay. I was sort of messing with it earlier. Make our website more of a spa themed website. Okay, so AI is obviously very unintelligent right now, right? So everyone says intelligence, but sometimes it's not really intelligent. We kind of need to make it more, push it along, basically, kind of give it guidance. So one thing I'm going to do here, guys, is for a hot second, I had to clear this guy. And we need to do some researching. So we got to do a little bit of data looking. So I'm going to kickstart a new Claude here, guys. Need some help reading the Copilot conversation between a user and versus and actions being taken. Review test 2 at gmail.com, test 3, test 4, and test 6. All pretty consistent. Experiences. Speaks at user, not with user, and the website editing does not happen. Okay, right, so all right, we've got it up now. You may ask what we got up right now. What we got up right now, guys, is a research agent that is going out there and is going to look at all the conversations that we just had with the AI to understand where it's going wrong. And what I mean by that is it's going to understand the conversation, what the user intention was versus what the output was giving in terms of text, but then also the action that the AI was suggesting to take to design the website is going to change. That has to change, right? So here we are at taking a look at that, and I basically turned my screen off for a second, but I'm going to kick it back on. This might be a good point, actually. So what I'm going to do, guys, is for day 19, I'm going to take a break. Let this research agent go about reading all the data, and we're going to come back, and we're going to look at the information that we got and decide where do we go from here, how do we update the editing experience based on that prompt, and how do we test that to make sure it is responding properly. The other thing that we have to work on eventually is the changing of the design template of the website to make sure it fits the different business types that are coming through, which is a pretty wide bucket to generalize on. But I think the AI is very capable of doing that. It just needs the guardrails to do it effectively, and we will get there, right? It's a process to getting there. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream here. Thanks for watching. It's your boy, Elijah. We'll see you real soon. All right? Peace.